There's a lot of conversation ever since Zohran Mamdani won the election to be the next mayor of New York. And in his speech, some people was pointing out that he didn't really talk much about Black Americans at all, but he was running down the laundry list of immigrants. And everything was about immigrant this, immigrant that, immigrant. And we notice this pattern with immigrants that when they come here, if they get anything, it's all about immigrants. It's not about, anything more than that. You understand? Even though how they got into this country is off the backs of the civil rights movement, which was done by Black Americans. But I want you to hear what this young woman is going to talk about this, because let's have that conversation, because Black Americans do need to kind of speak up on some of this. Let's go check that out.
So there's something I want to say around the topic of Black Americans and then immigrants. I'm seeing lots of videos from Black Americans urging Zohran Mamdani, new mayor of New York, soon to be, to not forget about Black Americans, because in his speech, and this is also something I noticed, he did talk about all of a bunch of the immigrant communities in New York and how they built New York. And he completely neglected Black Americans. I'm not from New York, I'm from Massachusetts, but even here and all over the country, I have seen how local government always deprioritizes Black Americans specifically. Now, I don't think electing Zohran Mamdani was a mistake. I really like him, even though I will not benefit from his policies. I'm very happy he won, and I hope more people like him go up to become leaders in this country. But I also urge them not to forget or deprioritize Black Americans. The Black American experience is different from the immigrant experience, even if it's a Black immigrant. Two different experiences. And on a statistical level, so this is data, this is not me making it up, Black Americans are deprioritized below immigrants. And that's not immigrants' fault. That is literally just how the system works. And because of that, I see so much division when it comes to Black Americans and immigrants, because it's hard to look past someone who's new to this country getting certain benefits or policies or programs that you have either needed or waited for and still have yet to get, even though you've been here your whole life. It's hard for them to look past that and see that what's really the issue is the system. And then on the flip side, what I see, and again, this is not me saying all Black Americans, all immigrants, but on the flip side, what I'll see are immigrants will come to this country and they will rise above the odds, which is amazing. But then they'll look back at Black Americans and say, well, if I did it, why can't you? Are you just lazy? And then that whole dynamic just pits Black Americans and immigrants against each other, which I hate. People need to remember that because of chattel slavery, it was Black Americans who were stolen from their own land and brought here. We laid the foundation. We laid the foundation for you to come here and then build on top of that. So yes, saying immigrants built this country is not wrong, but completely ignoring that Black Americans laid the foundation for them and then also built alongside them, that's what the message should have been. I really hope, because I saw his team, Zohran Mamdani's transition team, and I know it's all women, but I don't think I saw any Black Americans specifically on there. I do hope that he gets someone on his team who is a Black American, I would say a Black American woman, who can advise him on how to approach and help our community. Even though, again, I'm not from New York. I'm just saying, like, the community in New York. Because it's just different. It is different from the immigrant experience. And I hope all leaders who are coming up in this country also just remember that.
Well, let me address the last thing she said and work back. So she was saying that she hoped that Mamdani gets a Black American woman on his team. Well, I will say this. Why can't he get a Black American man on his team? How come? How a Black American man can say the same thing? Because I think personally he should have both a Black American man and a woman on the team. Because if I was a politician and I had won something, and I had a diverse city like New York, then what I would want on my team is representatives from every community that I'm going to govern over on my team, so I can get insight into each community. I don't want to go blind into it. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what I would do at minimum. And I would want my particular administration for people to see, hey, well, at least I know I'm represented in that particular administration. When you govern a city like that, you got to make sure everybody's represented so you won't have no issues. But for sure, I definitely have the brothers and sisters there. Oh, you better believe that they're going to be there, part of the administration. But to be fair, I did listen to the whole speech Mamdani said, and the only reference that he made was about Black women, Black American women in particular, being losing their 300,000 being fired from their jobs. Outside of that, he did not mention Black American people at all. He mentioned Ethiopians, he mentioned Trinidadians, but those are immigrants that aren't, Black Americans. And I'm not saying he was wrong for mentioning them, but Black Americans were the people that built New York. Let's call it what it is. You know about Seneca Village and all of different. Well, it's so much history of Black Americans in that area. You know what I'm saying? So that could be a whole video in itself about the history of Black America. About Wall Street, how Wall Street was a slave trading area. So, we was the first, stocks and bonds that people was purchasing on Wall Street. So people like, with the immigrant experience, and they talk about immigrants. Here's the issue. And like she said, it puts Black Americans against immigrants at times, because the government, especially a lot of times the Democrat Party, they prioritize immigrants over Black Americans. And we are a very strong voting bloc. We are people that can make you or break you, literally, in this country when it comes to popularity. And if Black Americans get against you, you're done. The only reason Eric Adams isn't the mayor anymore, because a lot of Black people in New York say, nah, we good on Eric Adams. If Black people are still cool on Eric Adams will be the mayor again. I'm just telling you straight up. Well, what it was. You should not ever say discount Black Americans, or like she said, think, oh, well, I'm in this position. How come Black Americans? Well, let's think about it. When you come to this country, you didn't go through Jim Crow. You didn't go through mass incarceration. They didn't mass incarcerate y'all when you got here. They didn't break up your families. They didn't say immigrant men can be in the homes of their immigrant women and children to get certain kind of help. They didn't do that to y'all. They never did convict leasing to immigrants. They never did a form of the black codes to immigrants. Immigrants come here in family units, or if they're not in family units, they can bring their people in here by chain migration. There's a lot of programs in states like New York and California, strictly for immigrants, that Black Americans can't even receive. Immigrants really aren't demonized in this country like that, maybe until recently, but for the most part, immigrants aren't demonized in this country, right? Immigrants get so many programs, especially the Black ones, because they can get the programs that we fought for as Black Americans, and they can get immigrant programs. So Black immigrants can get both sides of it, way more than maybe some of the other immigrants. And then so when immigrants open their mouth and have the nerves to say, oh, well, we're doing better than you. Well, no, you're not. Collectively, you're not. It's not enough for you to do more better than us. It's not enough for you to even measure to what we got going on. But why do you have to measure yourself to us and what we're doing? Just focus on what you got going on. And just be glad that Black America fought for those rights for you to come here, because white people didn't want nobody here but other Europeans. They didn't want nobody here but them. You better believe that. And you got your white nationalists like Nick Fuentes. He'd tell you that all day long. He want nothing but white people here. He don't want nobody coming here. Now Mamdani, of course everybody gonna be watching him. Of course. And if he be on this immigrant thing, that's one way to get, because I tell you what, Mamdani, if you just push an immigrant and you're not going to do nothing for black folk, you have a problem. And you're not going to be no more than one-term mayor either. Because one thing about black folks who kind of over that immigrant talk, we about some America talk, and you're gonna do something, make sure you do it for everybody. Don't be just doing these special immigrant programs. But I want to tell black Americans, I want to tell black America this. You need to be at them city council meetings. You need to be hearing what they're proposing. And if they are doing anything out of line, you need to be speaking up and speaking out and say, hey, what you doing for black Americans? Because I'm hearing all this immigrant talk. What you doing for black Americans? Y'all got to be at them city council meetings, because you can't complain if you're not there listening and checking them when they're getting out of line. Just like Sister Jessica Jackson and them, they be in that council meeting in Chicago. Y'all got to be doing the same thing in New York. Y'all got to be there at every city council meeting, listening in and speaking up when it's time to speak, and say, hey, what you gonna do out here in these boroughs where black people are living? What you doing out here in Harlem? What you doing? Hey, what's going on? You got to be speaking up and speaking out. Black folks, they built New York, and black folks shouldn't go nowhere. Well, I'll tell you what, I love the brothers and sisters in New York, and even my immigrant brothers and sisters in New York. I get so much love in New York. I really do. And I ain't got nothing against my brothers and sisters who are immigrants or wherever you come from. I don't have nothing against you. But we talking about politics. And in politics, I don't know why everybody got to be being pit against each other. An immigrant shouldn't be pit against a black American, and a black American shouldn't be pit against an immigrant. That doesn't make sense. Especially if all of you not white, it don't make sense. Because one thing about white supremacy, they're against anybody that's not them. Don't ever think because they treating you a little different for maybe 5 minutes that you're in a better position. Because a lot of immigrants starting to find out, like the East Indians are finding out about MAGA, that they're just as racist as we say they were. But if Mamdani does good for everybody, hey, it's no issue, no problem. But he definitely got to get some black Americans on the team, better known as FBA. He got to get them on the team. That's the only way you're going to have an administration that's going to do things that's equal. And that's just bottom line. But black folks, you better show up at that city council meeting and make sure him and the city do right by black New York.